Hello guys, in this video let's understand NSG a bit more. So NSG itself is a separate resource in Azure. So in our previous video we applied this NSG to NIC, that is network interface of VM. Okay, and in this video let's apply NSG to a subnet. So basically we can detach this NSG from this network interface and we can attach it to the subnet. Again guys, we are in Azure portal and let's open this VM. So let's go to this network settings. Now first observe this network interface. So basically this is the network interface or NIC which is attached to this VM, and that is VM for web app 151. Okay, now let's go down and you see this network security group. So this is our NSG and you can see it is attached to this network interface, that is app 151, and of course these are the security rules within this NSG. Okay, now let's click on this network interface. So we are in network interface of this VM. Now let's click on this network security group, that is NSG, and you see it shows the NSG which is attached to this NIC. Okay, now let me duplicate this tab. Virtual machines. Let's open our VM. Again network settings, and let's go down. And guys, see this allow any HTTP inbound. So basically because of this rule, that is we are allowing HTTP connection to the web app hosted in this VM over port 80, over port 8080, right? So because of this rule we are able to access our web app using IP address of this VM. So let me refresh this again and you see, yes, it's working. Okay, now let's simply detach this NSG from this NIC, that is network interface, and hopefully now we should not be able to access this web app, right? So let's go back to our previous tab, and what I'm doing is, again we are in this network interface and network security group. It shows the NSG or network security group which is attached to this NIC. So let's click on this drop down and I will say none, and let's say save. So basically to this NIC there is no network security group attached. Okay, so if you go to this VM, let's go down. So obviously now these rules, they are not applicable to this VM, right? So let's try to refresh this page. Let's go down. You see there are no NSGs to this VM because there is no NSG to this NIC, that is network interface. So now let's again try to refresh this page and hopefully it should not work, because now there is no rule which allows HTTP connection to this VM. It seems it's still working, so it might be fetching from cache. So let's open a new browser and let's paste this URL over here, and now let's say enter. And you see it's already taking more time. And yes, it says can't reach this page. So again guys, we are back in Azure portal. Now let's do one thing. Let's attach that NSG to the subnet of this VM. Okay, and hopefully after this again we should be able to access this URL, that is this URL. Okay, so again we are back in Azure portal. Let's go back to our previous tab. So here let me just duplicate this tab, and here I will say network security groups. Let's open this and see guys, this is that NSG which we have detached from that network interface. So let's open it, and yes, we can see those rules, and one of the rules is which allows HTTP connection over 8080. Okay, so on the left hand side, let's click on the subnets, and obviously as of now this NSG is not attached to any of the subnets, so let's click on this associate, and from this let's select our VNet and our subnet, and our subnet is our first subnet. So if you go to this VM, let's go to this overview and see this virtual network and subnet. So this VM, it is there in this subnet, that is our first subnet. So let's go here, and here I will simply say OK. That means we are now associating, or we are attaching this NSG to this subnet. So again, if you go here, now our VM is in this subnet, that is our first subnet, and this subnet, it has that NSG rule which allows HTTP connection to the web app in this VM. Okay, so let's try this URL again, and you see immediately it's working now.